Hello, and welcome back to If These Old Beasts Could Talk. Today, I have a little bit of railway lanterns here in front of me. These two, to my knowledge, should both have come off the New York Central, as this one is expressly labeled New York Central, and this one is labeled Michigan Central, which is a subsidiary of the New York Central system. Now, these two lamps, what's special about these is that technically, with this one, all I need is kerosene. With this one, I do need kerosene and a wick, but theoretically, both of these should be able to light with absolutely zero problems whatsoever. This one over here, we'll get started by looking at him. As you can see, New York Central like to stamp their stuff with proprietary marks. For example, this says NYCS, or New York Central System. And down here on the glass, it's actually cast, see, it's New York Central, and NYC lines. Now, to my knowledge, lanterns like this were, for example, this clear globe lantern was used for general illumination. So, like, say it's dark and you want to light something up. You use a clear globe lamp. There are multiple types of globes made, most notably red for stopping engines. I've heard, at least I know this is true on the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe, or just the Santa Fe. You used to have to carry one of these and one of the red globe lamps inside of a train so that you have a general illumination lamp and you have an emergency lamp for stop signaling. Now, the way this would work is that you raise up that wick in there via a little turn dial over there, and lighting the wick will result in a kerosene fire and, as such, light. And kerosene gives off a decent amount of yellow light, which is relatively useful and actually allows some features of this lamp over here to do their jobs correctly. However, this was just used for illumination purposes. It's a bit battered around. It's had no restoration on it. It is the way it has been for, I'd say, about 90 years now. And other than that, there's not much to talk about. This, you actually have an easier sort of swing feature on it, so that you may be able to swing it. Say you're trying to stop a train. The motion is swinging it quickly across the tracks as such. Sorry about my little Pokemon cards in my little Canadian dollar book over there. I might showcase that soon, but not at the moment. So, that's that for the New York Central illumination lamp. Now I'd like to switch over to this lamp. This lamp's usage, and it's very heavy, I have to state that right away, is a bit more complicated. It's an Adams Westlake non-sweating lamp from Chicago. This is also an Adams Westlake. I forgot to mention that. On the other side of the globe and the other side of the chimney housing, it says Adlake kerosene. This says that too. The Adlake non-sweating lamp, Chicago, Illinois. And down here, we have the MCRR, which I believe stands for Michigan Central Railroad, as this was found near Jackson, Michigan, which is a very, very popular stop on the New York Central system. So, this lamp is special, as these lanterns like this were used on top of switches. So, or this one specifically appears to have been used on top of a tall post. So say you switch a track. In the dead of night, a train isn't exactly going to be able to see a painted target. Usually it would be two hoops with a mast in the center, or a giant red circle with a mast in the center. Back in the late 1800s through about 1960, these were a very popular method of lighting switches if you did not have them signaled via a tall mast signal. What you used to do was you'd mount one of these on top of the lamp. And so for this one, which I believe was used to signify switching off a main line into a siding, like on a main somewhere, this light, which as you can see is a sort of blue glass, would illuminate And as I said earlier, kerosene burns orange, so you would get a green flame due to the blue glass being there. And so that would signify green. And green would signify that the switch was in the closed position and you could not enter the siding. So it was basically just a way of saying this switch is clear, move on at full speed. You are not supposed to be entering the siding here. Now, if, say, a train were lined to enter the siding, the man in charge would flip the switch to this red direction. Now, red on railroads is a pretty restrictive aspect. Usually, anytime you see red along the side of the tracks, you're supposed to stop. And that will be the case of this. Usually, you would want to stop before entering a siding for the purpose of checking that everything is aligned. You wouldn't want to go head-on into a siding full speed without any care for what is nearby, because you will end up crashing into something you don't want to. So this basically meant the switch is open, and you are going to end up in the siding. I may have used open and closed wrong, but I am no expert. I simply collect historical artifacts. I am reading up on signaling and signal aspects, though, so soon enough I will have a decent enough understanding to make these calls and say I can be correct. So anyway, the way this works is on the inside, there is the same type of thing as the other lamp. However, the wick, and I will try and get this open here. It's a bit finicky, and it's a bit hard to do with one hand. I'm very sorry. This is how it was lit. You would put the wick in there, and that's original Pyrex glass, by the way. It's got the old Pyrex marker on it. You'd fill kerosene in there. You'd light that wick that sits in that little fountain there, and of course you'd lift it with the dial, and it would glow. And the glass, I believe, is meant to protect the flame as well as to make it sweat and condense less. There is also a decent mechanism in the chimney to prevent that as well. This lamp has been restored from its original condition because it is very rusty. If you go into detail on it and you actually see it in person, it's a very rusty lamp. But somebody went out of their way to at least give it a fresh coat of paint. And for that I say thank you, sir, because you have made this lamp capable of running again. Anyway, I ought to end this video right now because there isn't much more to say about these lamps. Till then, catch you later.